Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning into The Medium by Design. It's July 13th, 2022. We had a beautiful full moon last night, which was just exquisite, really. The aura of that moon was so wide, and that's just with looking through my regular eyes. No, I don't have a telescope, so I can imagine what people saw looking through a telescope. So today's message is from Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. And of course, the way that I found him, through YouTube and Facebook, I get spiritually guided to these people. Something gets my attention, and then I open up the door to communicate with them. And this is how I got to this man. It was a beautiful connection yesterday that happened. And maybe because of the full moon energy, he wanted to come in on the full moon. I don't know. I didn't even ask him. But this is what I wrote this morning. I was attracted to him yesterday, and then I wrote from him this morning early. It's another early morning here. So here's what Nhat had to say. I see you are moved to tears very often as you watch videos of me and many others. You know the root of your tears comes from the ancientness of your soul. Let's not waste any time. Let's just get right into it with this guy. I cannot say I have seen this in a human being during my life. There is such an ancientness, like someone who lived a very long life and accumulated so much experience, it can be felt by another person. This is what I perceive from you. Okay, so he knocked me on my ass in the beginning. But then he goes on. To answer your question about whether Buddhists believe in communication with the dead, I would say on the surface, no. This is not something they would spend much time on. That being said, I can see why you spend so much time on this. You truly are a unique bird, and I see there are many around the world that pursue this line of purpose and are now sharing much of what they are discovering. I feel this is as it should be. After I passed, I met up with Buddha, Jesus, and many other spiritual leaders, as well as many Buddhists that lived before me that I had the opportunity to study during my life. It was like a Buddhist convention with many honored guests. I know that you relate to this as you have had visions of some welcoming committees as someone crosses over. It is very much like that. After I got acquainted with all those surrounding me, then the shift of reality, understanding, telepathy, and all the abilities of the soul spirit are shown to me. It is as if they are teaching me the ropes of spirit life once again. This does not take long, as time is not at all experienced. It all happens literally, seemingly in a flash. The other experience that happens is the ability to know an answer to any question instantaneously. All wisdom is available. It is if you have all the libraries, it is as if you have all the libraries of the world combined with all the knowledge of history and the universe at your disposal. You do get to focus on what you'd like to know. It does not all flood your consciousness in a constant flow. Actually, I have met many perpetual students that love to study and learn while in this, quote, afterlife. I know and understand the dilemma you have lived through your entire life, hearing and being guided by some unseen force. I also know some of the ones that have helped you stay clear of many a possible difficult experience, as I can also see that you have gone through much suffering while on this beautiful planet. Let me take a moment with you to help understand the current phase of your spiritual understanding that is changing the way to navigate and use this world in a new way. When you first arrived with the family of your choice, you were bombarded with ways of living that were seen as normal. This was taught to you, like many others, that this is the way. You took this way without question, as it was coming from those you trusted. However, as you expanded your awareness and embarked on your spiritual path, it became impossible for you to ignore the many incongruencies that would keep showing up in your life. Many of the human teachings and origins of your life began to be shattered and discarded. This is the spiritual way. You start slowly because it is almost impossible to shed your entire old life overnight. It would be too much of a culture shock. No, you take it one step at a time, shedding all those things that just do not make any sense and that you feel deeply are no longer needed. Let's take a look at the current state of affairs in the lives of all of Earth's children, but especially those that are controlled by big entities that appear to be ruling the world. The Buddhist way is always to look inside and see what is in me that resembles or matches the energy I am seeing outside of me. This is a very important distinction and can change your entire outlook on life and how you interact with everything and everyone. When you begin to see your connection to all things and change from emotional reaction to observer, then take a breath. There is a moment of clarity that occurs within, and much of the time those emotions literally dissolve as understanding and compassion take its place. This is a very simple concept, yet not easily understood by the mind. This is why I always spoke of practice. It is through a constant practice that we each have the opportunity to get really good at it. It is no different than any other endeavor you might undertake. The only difference is the reward takes a little longer to see. Many in Western cultures are used to living a life and all opportunities as something you buy. If it is not easy to purchase, then it must not be worth the time. On Amazon, I can find everything I need. This may be true for all those things you feel you must have, but this is not true for all things that truly matter. By starting a practice, whatever that might be, you open the door to an entirely new world of discovery. Discovery of yourself should never be taken lightly. These are the things that change a person from the inside out. This is the reason for the practice. Through the inner knowing, understanding, and compassion, the person changes their way of life, and then life reflects back those changes. The sense of peace is not fleeting. It is the new way of life. You will do well. You will do well, Salvatore, correct? Checking his pronunciation of my name. Why? Because you have committed to your practice for much of your life. You have learned something that most would never practice. Some of your life purpose is very clear, although not as all shown, and there are more experiences for you to discover, but much of the expectations have been dropped. Do not let me inflate your ego. As you well know, there is always more to learn. And practice. The discovery through practice is the number one way of the Buddhist, but can help anyone in their lives. I think that is enough for now. So that is from this wonderful monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. So I want to just share a couple of things of how we go through these inner transitions, because I've been living this for a long time and dealing with the lower emotions. As you see, he sees the deep emotions that come out of me so easily because, according to him, it's obvious that there's an ancientness to my soul. So, which was wonderful that he brought that to my attention. But what's important practically, remember, we want to take these teachings and these truths and embody them, right? This is all energy, like I did with the CERN energy and that teaching I gave in the last video of how we embody what we want to be, basically. We just keep practicing until we become that thing. So what happens when I'm practicing this peaceful way. I'm not a Buddhist, but there are many things, traditions, and Buddhist traditions that I could see now that I have lived by for a very long time. Even though I still had the lower emotions, kind of combating what I truly felt was important, right? And one of the things I always thought was important was communication. I always felt that the solutions to almost any issue involve clear and honest communication. Letting our needs be met, sharing what we want to accomplish. That's why I moved into that way consciously, that everything with everyone should be a win-win, right? Otherwise, if I'm just coming to you with agendas in any form, then I know that I'm trying to manipulate or make something happen. And I see this every single day with so many people in the world getting up with so many agendas and so many things that they have to get done. And what is the thing that he says that helped me is letting go of expectation, but I want to expand that to attachments. He didn't touch on attachments, and I'm sure he could teach us a lot about attachments. But I will tell you that this transition through the last 3 years, the most difficult part of this transition was letting go of expectations and intentions. And as I got better at doing that, and I'm not saying that I never have a moment where I'm disappointed and have an attachment or an expectation that I'm still holding on to. However, by consciously letting those energies go in me, it changed my world. And time changed the way I experienced time. Now, of course, my Aries, remember I said this in a video, I am an Aries, and Aries people, they get a flash of intuition, they get a flash of inspiration, and then there's this weird thing with the mind that thinks because I saw it and I felt it and I want it, that it should happen right away, right? That's an Aries funny generality of Aries. Not all Aries, but it is a funny thing. That is a strong part of me that still believes that once I see the flash and see the vision, that it should happen fast. But that is not going to happen. It's very, very rare that something happens so fast and so spontaneously. I'm not saying it doesn't, but usually the things that happen spontaneously they come out of left field, right? They're not on my list. They're not something that I necessarily wanted or consciously chose, but they are wonderful surprises, and they do happen every day, especially when I leave the house, if I choose to do that. So getting back to this letting go of intentions or expectations and attachments. So what has happened through this 3-year transition is that from dropping this constant need of being productive and having expectations of what's going to happen today, and especially the attachments to those expectations and attachments to anything or anyone or any outcome, by consciously relaxing and letting go of that, there's a lot less angst. Now, I'm not saying it's all gone. I'm not going to sit here and brag to you that I never have angst and I never have a lower emotion. That would be total bullshit. But I can honestly say with confidence that I'm a lot better than I used to be. My friends tell me that all the time. In the last 5-6 years, they have seen a change in me, and it is from the inside out. And now, if you watch any of my Jesus video series, I have explained how Jesus really did step in a much bigger, vivid, tangible way to help me release those lower emotions and a lot of my past. Obviously, though, there is something still in my soul's history that has me crying at the drop of a hat. I thought I did a lot of release work. Actually, I did do a lot of release work in this life. That's a fact. There's not speculation here. I have devoted a lot of time to release work and a lot of emotions coming out. However, obviously, things will still touch me deeply and I will cry. So there's nothing to do about any of this. You just live your life, and you live. If you're truly living in the moment and you have tears, what are you going to do? You just have to just get through it. Just let it happen. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on this because I'd like to make these teachings practical. And I have to tell you, I am so honored that some of you left comments on the CERN videos, and that there was some help there, some practical assistance in understanding energy. I really would like these videos to come into the practical lives of all of us and help us really transform our personal lives, because the more we transform our personal lives, we are going to see that reflected back. Now, in that last video, the CERN video, I talked about the simple exercise that I do before I leave the house. And I also talked about, by doing this energy work with myself, I can tangibly feel those waves. Now, if you study ascension symptoms at all, and that's another thing you might want to look up on the internet, there are some really good articles about the ascension experience and the spiritual experience as we go through these different phases. And the one phase that has gotten super, super strong, and please comment if you're having this experience, because I really do, I do want to know that there are people out there that are having a very tangible spiritual experience while they're living their lives. Because the veil is getting thinner and thinner. And for me, I don't think there is a veil. I'm not experiencing the veil at all anymore. And you can see that from my writings. There is no hesitation in the writings. It's just, there they are, you know. So, you know, take stock in the idea that letting go of these agendas and the maybe strong intentions for the day, being locked into expectations of what we want, and especially attachments to the outcomes. If we really get much looser during this phase that we're living in, then we will see more surprises reflected back to us. So I said that the one thing I always project out consciously, and I'm sure my soul has even more energies that it's projecting out that I'm not even aware of, right? Because the personality is not necessarily exactly the same as the soul. The soul is operating behind the scenes with your guardian angels, Jesus, and the masters, and all these other light beings that are in this universe, helping my soul come into me in a much grander way and let the life be led by that presence, which is totally different than my New Jersey Italian and family heritage and baggage and ancestral karma. You see, I'm trying to speak in layers here so you can start to connect the dots of why we are who we are and why we're living the way we're living. You know, I see a lot of people sharing things on Facebook that have so much emotional baggage to them, right? A lot of responses to what's going on in the world. I mentioned this in another video, that as soon as something's announced in the outer world, the inner turmoil has to come out of a person, right? Well, if we keep doing that, it's going to be a constant throw this out and throw that out, and it's coming at you, you know, all this stuff is coming at you, and then you have to have this reaction from the inside. But the Buddhists know that that is not the most productive way to live our lives, because then we have no mastery of our thoughts, of our emotions. We have a very difficult time getting into observer mode, and that really is not going to help our world really move into the next phase of human evolution. So, you know, if you can practice these things and then see what's reflected back. Now, as I said before, I talk about the energies that I like to project. So the basics are, I like to project into the world, and this is no matter what I'm personally feeling. It doesn't matter. I still want to see love, peace, harmony, joy, all the beautiful higher frequency emotions, and financial freedom and perfect health. I want to see that for me, but I also want to see that for everyone. This is a very, very all-encompassing way of living. Now, you can't force these things onto someone else, but you can offer the energy in your aura. Just look at the moon tonight again and look at the aura of the moon. That's the same energy that we emote, right? We have this energetic body around us that has many, many energies, possible past life energies, that are attracting energies in the physical world. But the more of the spiritual practice that you do, which could be as simple as breathing and being conscious of drinking the water from my Mickey Mouse glass and being very conscious of the feel, the sense, and the experience of drinking this water and relaxing into drinking the water, which Nhat says drinking a glass of water or a cup of tea could take an hour to do consciously. I'm not going to tell you to do that because I know that most, would not do that. But if you could be conscious just in your daily life and try to keep this relaxation going and keep the mind relaxed, no matter what is being projected at you through whatever exposure you're getting from the world, I think you might see something reflected back very different than what you're seeing right now. And the other thing that has come up, of course, through this whole 3-year period was what do you keep exposing yourself to? That has not gone away. We're still trying to navigate through our exposure of different people, friends, family, videos, internet interaction, news outlets, whatever you is your thing, right? Whatever you're listening to and whatever you're exposing yourself to. All of that will affect how easy the practice is. Because in order for me to get to this point, which still has rough edges, I had to really let go of so many natural, seemingly normal connections, like what he says in the beginning about family, things that are passed down and reality that's given to us and teachings from our family, right? That's one of our core issues. If we're on a spiritual path, many of the things that were given to us in this lifetime, and maybe other soul experiences from the past, but many of the things that are given to us no longer fit. Now, I had those feelings when I was much younger and through life, and things I saw with people and experiences I was in, situations I was in, and I would think, really? Is this really the way this is supposed to go? And I especially saw that in people in authority. I constantly saw people in authority operating without integrity and operating without a win-win attitude. I saw this through my entire life, and so much so that I left jobs because of it or got fired. So, I have had an interesting life and wore many hats. And have seen many lower emotions be emoted when I was on the scene. And I didn't even know that this energy that I carried was actually purposely set up from my soul and my agreement with God to trigger people to release their lower emotions. Now, in massage therapy, in the work that I do, that's okay. But in everyday life, I really didn't like seeing people have implosions. That's not fun. And I have some really funny stories about how people acted or reacted in front of me, and I just could not believe the situations and what they were emoting. And I was shocked. My nervous system doesn't like that kind of reaction. So when you're noticing these things, try to become the observer. See if you can detach from what's really happening. And by taking the breath, as he says, see what kind of wisdom comes into the situation and see if we can move into compassion. That's a big teaching of his, is that if we can see the disharmony in the other person and we move into compassion, we will not have to have the reactions that we are seeing in the world so often now. And then go back to what I always say is, if I don't like what I'm seeing, then I'm going to boost up my projection of what I want to see. Okay? And I keep expanding that in my, if you want to use the word aura, that's fine, but it's the light body, it's your soul's energy expanding out from the physical body. And that's carrying all kinds of information. That's why, let's bring it down a few notches. That's why when you meet somebody, and if you're open to your sensitivity and intuition, you will pick up the first energies that are emoting from that person. And you can do the same thing when you walk into a building or a house. There are energies that are very tangibly present. And I will say that on the spiritual journey, those energies get much more tangible. And you can really read them so much more easily when you're on some kind of spiritual journey or practice, or whatever you're doing to be more open. And as much as the releasing of the emotions, the lower emotions, might be difficult, the more of that's done, which is what I've done, what part of my soul journey was to learn how to release, let go. So much so that I was not a happy camper with all this. But at this point of life, what I can say is, the more that I let go and the more that I understood energy, the better I feel in my body, the better I feel about the me that's in here, the I am presence that's in this body, because now I have learned to clarify what's mine, what I'm picking up, what I'm reading, what I'm doing, and practicing through 32 years of meditation, doing readings, just practicing reading energy, and doing the breath work, which I was not always good at, I'll be honest with you, because I was always fast. As an Aries, I always had this need for speed, right? That's from the first Cars movie, the need for speed. And I was very much, like that. But as you know, you get older, you do slow down. And the slowing down is really part of the spiritual journey. The more you slow down, the more wisdom you receive. So with that, let's end this video. Let's go and create and express and emote those higher frequency energies through our aura, through our light body. And let's see what reflects back to us. Please like, subscribe. If there's anything you have discovered on this channel, you can share the videos if you like. I do have my email below if you'd like a personal writing. As you see now, we're over 100 videos here of a lot of these writings from all the different beings that I write from. So if you feel it's time for you to do something different on your spiritual path, please contact me. If you have an idea for a group, please contact me. I'd love doing groups. So, or any other idea. My work is always changing. It's who knows? There's all kinds of opportunities out there of how to work with spirit. So with that, God bless the 383 subscribers, and please pass this on, and let's get this channel growing, because I do love what I do. Absolutely. I hope you can feel that from these videos. I do understand that this is a very unique life experience with all these beings, and if I can't find gratitude in my life, I go back to this and realize how amazing this is, and stay in gratitude that I can still do this, and enjoy it too. Learn and enjoy. So with that, there's more to come on The Medium by Design.